All right, guys, it's time to rank all of the prismatics and divines in SpongeBob Tower Defense. Let's get it started. So we're gonna be showing you guys the best ones. Also, guys, we're gonna be giving away 10,000 Robux this month. So make sure you guys comment down below your Roblox username, drop a like, and subscribe to enter. And you guys can get bonus entries by commenting on the videos on my other channels like Blam's Fighters and Blam Spot. All right, let's get it started, guys, and let's start the rankings. So these rankings are going to be based on mainly infinite mode and just total damage output. And if there's a support unit, we'll mention it as well. So let's get it started, guys. So first up, let's go over like the OG prismatics. These ones are pretty tough. So if we take a look at some of the OG prismatics in the game, it's actually kind of sad. So let's take a look at I believe the first ever one, which was the square pants. Look at this, guys. 7.5 million damage. Back in the day, this was busted OP and cracked out. But if we take a look now, pretty much every unit is better than this now. Like, this gets released. So we can take a look at like one of the newer exotics that got released. And you can see that Patrick is basically doing more damage. And in fact, he is actually doing more damage if you do the math. And look at this, guys. Octopus Squidward is doing 175 million. And this guy's doing 7.5 million. So if you're not even as good as Octopus Squidward, I don't even think I can put you in a tier higher than the D tier. So yeah. All right, so the next prismatics that got dropped were Snow Sponge and Sticky Fins. So Sticky Fins you can still get for free. I know he was for free in the newbie quest, but his damage is really low at 6 million and Snow Sponge is at 5.85. Now remember, line AoE sucks, so you kind of get a minus for that. Normally I would rank Sticky Fins higher because he used to be very easily obtainable comparatively, but I'm gonna be honest, it doesn't really matter that much. There's so many easier prismatics to get in the game that I can't rank him that highly. And Snow Sponge, I'm gonna actually rank lower because he's almost impossible to superstar, etc. So I would honestly only recommend this guy for trading value purposes. Okay. Next up, we have a unit that's actually still obtainable, surprisingly, and that is Ringmaster Crabs. So Ringmaster Crabs is basically Snow Sponge, but I believe like slightly upgraded. And he's actually still kind of hard to get, so keep that in mind. Let me pull him up here real quick. Like, oh wow, I don't even have a shiny Wumbo of him yet. That's actually kind of crazy. So 8 million damage is a lot better than Snow Sponge. However, he is still obtainable, which actually kind of, you know, raises his value a little bit. Maybe I should get a superstar version of him. Let me know down below, guys. Should I make a superstar Ringmaster Crabs? I actually might be able to. How many do I have? So I actually have 4 of them, but I'm not doing anything with this one because it's obviously number 8. But yeah, if you guys want me to make a superstar Ringmaster Crabs, let me know down below, because that actually might be pretty rare. Actually, let's try something real quick. I'm gonna burn my potion on him right now. So let's burn a potion on a Ringmaster Crabs. I want to see if anybody actually does this. So if I do a Ringmaster Crab shiny Wumbo, whoa, wow. Wow, that's a really low cereal, guys. We're gonna superstar him. All right, that's gonna put, we superstar him, I think that's gonna put the serial number in the rainbows. So yo, comment down below if you guys have a free Ringmaster. I mean, I need that bad. All right, so let's go open some real quick. Sorry, we're getting a little bit distracted, but I gotta pull a Ringmaster. All right, well, we can use those for the divines. Okay, that's not a Ringmaster Crabs. All right, hey, there we go. We only need a couple more now. Let's cook. Hey, shout out Crimson for helping with the mission. That's a W. Hey, shout out to Rip Destroyer Frankie. Thank you so much for contributing. Yo, mega shout out to Pokemaster/Nothing hooking us up for this superstar. Yo, shout out to Goaty for helping as well. Oh my gosh, bro got the #1 cereal for real. That's crazy. 4.1 billion on Janet and Marty. Yo, we're gonna rank them pretty high on the tier list, not gonna lie. Yo, he's sending me an 11 cereal is crazy. Oh my gosh, I gotta remember not to fuse that. That is insane. Holy. All right, again, shout out to Pokemaster, Dino, and Destroyer Frankie. All right, let's create the beast, guys. Superstar Shiny Wumbo Ringmaster. All right, let's check this here. No, 113. It wasn't rainbow. Wow, the stats though are terrible. All right, back to the tier list. All right, well, after all that, guys, yeah, he's still D tier, not gonna lie. But the thing is, it looks like he's actually pretty easy to superstar. So I'm gonna be honest, that puts him higher than all these other guys. All right, back to the collection. Let's take a look at some of the next units. So now we're just gonna go from the top. All right, so next up we have Boys Who Cry, 245, and he does have the Encore effect. Now, the problem with the Encore effect is I heard it doesn't stack with Roach. So for that reason, S tier, not S+. I'm gonna be honest. I think Roach is gonna make that even better. Speaking of Roach, we gotta put Roach up there in the tier list as the #1 as of right now. What Roach does is he basically doubles all of your units' damage, which is absolutely busted OP. So this rally is absolutely meta, and there currently is no other way to get the rally effect. So if you don't have it, you're kind of cooked. So keep that in mind. All right, next up we have Blackjack. Now this is another of the prismatics that were pretty easy to get, but you guys can see 2.5 million single target is not that good. So I'm gonna rank him right about there. The reason I'm ranking him a little bit higher is I think you could actually legitimately superstar him pretty easily. It's gonna be pretty hard to superstar Snow Sponge, not gonna lie. All right, next up, I wish there was all right, we're gonna stop using the search filter. Next up we have U2's Fred. Now U2's Fred is going to allow you to get a lot of chest easily, and look at that, guys. 19 million full AoE is not bad. Now the question is, how much do you value his chest ability? I believe it gives you secret chest still, so this might be the best chest farm in the game. So I'm gonna technically have to give him S+ tier for now, because you can farm chests with him, I believe, pretty easily, especially with all the pet stacks, etc. So you guys can let me know, is the chest farming with U2's Fred worth it? For now, I think he's the only unit that does that, so he is technically meta for chest farming. All right, next up we have Yeti Crabs, 70 million single target. Now that's actually not bad, and he's not too hard to get if you get lucky with an admin abuse. So I'm gonna put him as my B tier benchmark. So any unit that's better than him is going in A tier. Any unit that's about the same is staying in B tier. So he's gonna be our benchmark unit. All right, next up we have Weeniebot 2003. Now this guy is apparently like a big splash like Dorudon, so he's dang near full AoE. So 170 million is crazy. So as of right now, that is the highest we've seen. So we're gonna put him into the S+ tier. Now I am gonna keep these guys in the S+ tier. I believe they're pretty good, but I'm gonna use the top of this for damage. But some of these are support units, so if it's a support unit, it's not necessarily in order. So as of right now, 170 is the best in the game, especially for 0.1. All right, next up we have the Tiki Aliens. Line AoE is bad, but apparently they're actually a decently strong unit. But I don't really like line AoE at all, so I'm gonna rank this one in the C tier. All right, next up we have Sudbob, another line AoE unit, but this one has 120 million. Now the problem with Sudbob is he's a little bit harder to get, so keep that in mind, but his stats are better, so I'm gonna put him into the C tier. I would just much rather use Yeti Crabs in most scenarios. All right, Squidward House Robot, good luck trying to superstar him. I don't know if they made potions work on him yet, but if they did, I guess that'd be pretty cool. But 100 million for 0.1 is better than Yeti Crabs. So now I will be honest, Yeti Crabs is very easy to superstar. However, technically speaking, Squidward House Robot, you could theoretically superstar him. It would just cost you an arm and a leg. But technically speaking, his stats are better. I just feel like you would have to be super rich to get him. But I'm going to put him here for now because I'm going to like factor in, you know, how much it costs to superstar a little bit less. Squidbob, guys, he's just kind of a collector's unit. So I'm going to be honest, realistically speaking, I don't know. He's a good unit. All right. He's not a bad unit at all, but realistically speaking, it's going to be hard to get him. But he is a free unit though. And he's pretty easy to get, guys. Variants are pretty easy to get. So you could just get him for free. He's just going to be a collector unit though. Spongeboy is still one of the goats, guys. 75 million splash. Absolutely goated. I'm going to put him into the A tier. Very, very good and slightly better stats than Yeti Crabs. All right. So next up, we're going to skip him for now. This is kind of more of a collector's unit. So good luck if you do have him. This is obviously Sour Note. I'm going to show you his stats real quick. All right, based on the stats I'm seeing, it appears that Sour Note is not really that bad of a unit, but it looks like he's only in like the little millions. So I'm gonna be honest, he's gonna be pretty hard to superstar, but I feel like he'll be easier over time to superstar. So I think for that reason alone, I'm gonna rank him a little bit lower, but it appears he kind of deserves to be right around I'm gonna leave him in the B tier for now. He might move up. Let's see what kind of AoE he has. All right, so it looks like he's gonna have a question mark AoE on my screen. It looks like whenever I was watching showcases of him, it appears that he's gonna have a line AoE, and I hate line AoE units, so I'm gonna rank that a little bit lower. I really hate line AoE units. All right. Next up, we already went over you, Scottish Cheeks. 70 million damage is pretty good, but again, it's a line AoE unit, and I hate line AoE units. And honestly, it's gonna be harder to superstar than the Tiki Alien, so I'm gonna drop this one into the C tier. All right. Next up, we got Sanitation Robot. This one is very easy to get, and basically easier to get superstar than Yeti Crab, so I'm gonna rank it higher than them, because it's just so easy to get. All right, Robo Plankton has some crazy stats. I'm gonna be honest, I should have probably used my shiny Wumbo Potion on Robo Plankton, but it is what it is. Anyways, 90 bajillion damage is pretty good. So he's gonna be kind of hard to superstar, but maybe not the end of the world. But honestly, his stats are dictating that he goes above Spongeboy. But I will say he's probably harder to get than Spongeboy, but his stats are better. All right, QT Monster, guys, full AoE 88 million. I'm gonna be honest, this is just cracked. Like S+ tier right now. Just cracked out, guys. Planktopolis 40 million full AoE isn't bad, but kind of a lot less, so I'm gonna drop this one in A tier. Narline and Nabi 250 million, dude. Absolutely crazy, but single target. So I'm gonna give Weeniebot the edge over Narline, but it is close, very close. All right, next up we have Mr. Magic. 80 million for 0.1 on the splash is actually pretty good. So Mr. Magic is going to go up here into the A tier. I'm gonna put him above Roboplankton because I think you could superstar him a little bit easier, even though you have slightly less on the damage. All right, Morbid Patrick, 92 million full AoE is actually higher than QT Monster. Now, I don't know if his animation is so much longer, that's why he's worse, but he's even easier to get than QT Monster, so technically speaking, he does deserve to be up there. I might have to test this a little bit more deeply. All right, Monster Island, 37.5 million line AoE. Again, insanely, he's a pretty decently easy unit to get, but his stats are kind of buns. So I think his stats, honestly, will put him at the bottom of C tier for right now. Leprechaun, 150 million splash is crazy work. So Leprechaun, way better. I'm gonna put him in the S tier. I'm gonna put it slightly lower than these guys, because I think these ones have a slight edge, but it looks like Weeniebot has a bigger AoE as well, which gives him even more of an edge. So we'll put him there for now. All right, Cuddly Crab Mascot, 75 million full AoE. Now, unfortunately, I don't know what the animation speed is on him, but technically speaking, this is worse than those ones up there, so we'll drop him a little lower. Kenny the Cat, 16 million. Yeah, he's really hard to get, good trading value, but not really worth it. All right, Janet and Marty splash damage, basically very easy to get unit, just basically is about as good as Spongeboy to get. I would say Spongeboy Superstar is probably slightly easier to get than a Superstar version of this, but it's pretty close. All right, Imposter Sandy, 70 million single target, puts Imposter Sandy right up there with the Crabs. All right, Hans, single target, 30 million, not the greatest in the world, so C tier for me, and very hard to get. All right, Gary Booty. I'm sorry, but Gary Booty, I'm just gonna, I don't even know what to say. Gary Booty is technically has a fast animation, so I'm gonna put him a little bit higher, but I don't think Gary Booty's that good, but he's really good for net worth though. All right, Easter Bunny, basically a better version of Leprechaun, very good. I'm gonna say up there with Weeniebot, but I think Weeniebot does have the edge. All right, next up we have Dumpster Patrick. 50 million single target is not enough for the meta, but I'm gonna believe that we'll put him right about there. All right, next up we have Cool Bob, absolutely trash, guys. 60 million line AoE. Again, that's gonna put him into the C tier, probably right about there. All right, next up we got Blackjack. I think we already talked about Blackjack. All right, this unit almost nobody has. It exists in the entire game, so good luck trying to get this one. All right, so this is maxed out non-superstar. Shout out to RDM. Basically pretty dang good stats. Now, is it gonna show us the base stats here? That would be ideal. So basically you have to trade for a bunch of mounts to get this one. Dude, this guy's some crazy stuff, man. Oh my gosh. RDM's inventory is insane. Holy. All right, so this is on his alt account, it looks like. And let's take a look. All right, did we get to see the base stats? Here we go. So this is him claiming it. Oh my gosh, dude. Dude, how did this guy get this unit? Oh my goodness. All right, Alien Elephant. 147 million is the base. So 147 million base is pretty easy to get compared to the other units, but it is actually a full AoE as well. So I think technically speaking, this is probably the best unit in the game. I don't think I've seen any units with 147 million and more, but he is kind of hard to superstar, so keep that in mind. Might be dang near impossible to superstar. So that might be a slight issue, but technically speaking, if you could superstar it, I think it would go right about there. I'm gonna give Gnarly Nobby the edge because of the boss DPS. And Weeniebot has a slight DPS and is very easy to superstar, but technically this guy might be the GOAT. All right, Abrasive Spongebob, 70 million. Single target puts it right there with the Yeti Crabs. So there you go, guys. There is the new tier list in SpongeBob Tower Defense. Comment down below what you guys think. And if I made any mistakes, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.